Can you dig it? Welcome, everybody. Welcome. It's Monday. Welcome to Mallrats Monday for episode 25 of Waterdeep Mallrats, a dragon heist. We are now officially the longest show that we have done on this channel, which I'm really, really happy about. So, how is everybody on this beautiful, actually it's very beautiful evening. I can see this gorgeous sky, the lovely clouds are just sitting in a beautiful, like slightly bluish. There's a beautiful pinks and yellows in the background. It's very, very nice here in London. So I want to see how everybody else is enjoying their sunsets today. So please do tell us in the chat how your sunsets are. Yeah. In case you haven't guessed, I guess we are, as usual, we're all knackered, which means it's going to be an amazing session because we're always best when we're tired. So here we go. So I'm going to see how everybody is doing. So I think I'm going to start with somebody who has got like this seems like sunset free background going on at the moment. Evie James, how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, thank you. In the land of Fortnite, there's clear skies, a little bit of cloud. The temperature is quite humid and very, very... Do you know what? It's very hard, actually. Chapter 2, season 8, I think it is. Is that right? I don't know. Yep. Whatever this new chapter is that we're on, which isn't this, but forgive me. I haven't won a single one yet. It's so hard. Mm-hmm. I've got down to like 4, I think, and that's the best I've done. But I had a great time the other day. You know the sharks? If you kill a shark, they're quite hard to kill. But if you kill one, you get a rocket launcher.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
A big purple rocket launcher.
Oh yeah.
It's very exciting. Yeah, because the other day I just went AWOL and was like, do you know what? I'm not going to kill people today. I'm just going to see what else I can do, what other things I can, what chaos I can cause. And then I ended up getting like sniped when I was like busy trying to make something really silly. Because I'm trying to work on my building, Joe. It's hard. Building is so hard. And then you watch other people and they're like, and they create like a palace in 4 seconds. Mm-hmm. I end up trapping myself inside most of the time.
Every time I try and do a set of stairs, I do the roof instead.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, oh no, oh.
Yeah. Then you're just inside, like, this is not what I wanted, and everyone knows where I am.
Like shaking, and then you're dead.
Yeah, dead immediately.
I was freaked out by like dinosaurs.
Oh yeah.
That freaked me out. I was like, why are there dinosaurs?
It was horrible. Earlier on when I was playing, I was like hiding in a room, and I had like 5 health left or something, and I was desperately trying to bandage myself up, and then more and more people kept coming in, and I was like, well, you have to die. I've got bandage back. Oh, you have to die. Bandage. And then I just got bit by a dinosaur behind me, and I was like, fuck's sake. I was like number 98 or something ridiculous. It was very upsetting. So yes, I have been playing a lot of Fortnite. Obviously, that goes without saying. I did an escape room yesterday. An Enigma escape room called The Killer. Ooh. And there was one moment that made me jump and poo myself so much that I stumbled backwards and I fell on my bum. So I highly recommend that, because I've never done that in an escape room. I've never been genuinely fearful. Do you know what I mean? Like, yes, you might feel a bit nervous, but my word, what happened just made me... It was awful. It was terrifying. It was brilliant. So yes, that's called The Killer. For anyone who likes escape rooms, maybe Kurt Clark's already done that one, because he's done all of them. So when you're watching this, Kurt, let me know if you've done that one. Yeah, apart from that, I'm all good. How are you, Joe?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
Good.
I tried to do some moving yesterday, and I forgot what it's like to like carry stuff upstairs. And like I got to the top, and you know when your leg does like this, you just stood there doing Elvis, and I was like, what's going on? Why is this happening to me? And then I realised because I'm old. And then it was like, okay, I'm definitely hiring someone to help me move, because I'm not doing this.
Yeah, it's so much such work.
But I had my first meal in my new flat, which was a fried egg bagel, and that was great. So that was nice to be with Nat, and and sort of experience a new flat. So that's nice.
A bagel.
Yeah, fried egg bagel.
Surely the fact that there's a hole in the middle of the thing that you're using as a base is counterintuitive, though, isn't it? Conceiving as the yolk is kind of usually center on the egg.
Oh, is it? Is it usually in the center?
Well, usually, yeah.
I really like it because you get a little sweetness from the bagel, which is just like the bestest. That's kind of why I like it.
Bagel's great.
Each their own, I guess, you know.
Wow.
All right, well, let's do this today. So if you could describe yourself as an egg or a preparation of egg, what would it be, Evie?
Today, I would be a badly poached egg.
Like a bad one, like a bad poached egg.
Yeah, like you kind of take it out and it's not like perfectly formed, like a little sack or like a little testicle, if you will. Because I always think you want them in that sort of consistency, don't you? A little ball. No, mine is sort of like a Dementor poached egg where there's just bits still floating around in the pan. Because I tried to, give myself a really nice rest, and it ended up being too long a rest, and now I feel a bit like a gross poached egg, not a beautiful testicle poached egg.
There you go.
There we go. Don't nap for 2 hours in the day, kids. Don't nap for 2 hours. It does bad things to your body.
There we go. You've heard it here first. No disco naps.
No.
Well, as Mr. Thompson has a problem with fried eggs in a bagel, how are you doing today, Mr. Thompson?
Yeah, I'm all right, thanks. I would say that I'm a boiled egg. You really hope for the best with me, but you always end up disappointed. You crack me open, and what's inside is just far. Your expectations have been shattered. You fucked this up. You leave. You're upset. You leave me in the fridge for too long, and I stink. And yeah, I'm gonna go with that today. However, I have 3 movie pitches for you all.
Oh, here we go.
Okay. They're not fully formed. They're not as formed as the most hotly anticipated sequel of all time, Passion of the Christ 2 Double Cross. However, hear me out on this, okay? Here's the first one. Peter Pan's Labyrinth. I don't know what it is yet, but there's something in there.
Yeah, that's a good title. I can see it.
Peter Pan's Labyrinth. Peter Pan's Labyrinth is how you're going to say it. Have you seen Peter Pan's Labyrinth? Yeah, okay. Don't know what it is, but I'm sure that anyone watching can figure that out. Number 2, Fast and the Furious 17. Dom gets a speeding ticket and has to go to a driver's ed class and doesn't drive for the entirety of the film, but does tedious administrative work to try and get his license back. Okay, I want a gritty drama there. I don't want none of this fast racing cars and stuff. I want to see Vin Diesel working hard on something, And number 3, this is my favorite.
In like a micro or something. It has to be like a Nissan micro.
Great. The driving he does is slow, and he has to learn how to parallel park again.
Mirrors.
Great, yeah. He's going to fail loads of times. He's going to have
that could be the subtitle, Fast and Furious 17, Mirror Signal, Engage.
And finally, my last one, which I think there's really something in this. Kill Bill and Ted.
Yeah, that's good.
Just replace Bill with Bill and Ted. It's the same film, except it's like, whoa, no, gnarly, whoa, that kind of thing. You know what I'm talking about. So those are the top 3. I'm going to think of more for you.
Hey, you wasted me just on this channel. You're a genius. You should be out in Hollywood, my friend.
I should be, but hey, community service and all that. But yeah, apart from that, I'm well. There's no complaints. I'm recovering from the second day of a hangover, so I'm bubbly today. I'm a bubbly egg.
Your bubbly boiled egg. Oh my god! Yeah. So is it like a fizzy boiled egg?
Oh, it was fizzing before you even put it in the water. Yeah.
This is a question though. Are you, again, very similar question to Evie's actually, are you hard boiled or is it like, snotty?
I break the rules on this. I've got a really hard yolk, and then I'm all goop around it. I'm the worst parts of both of those things.
Oh.
Moments of like, I have no idea how the chef has done this, but this is disgusting.
Yeah. Oh, I'll tell you what I am actually. I'll tell you what's happened is the egg is slightly cracked. The actual, when you're putting it into the water, your fingers have just cracked it a little bit, so it's started to spew out the side. It's got like a weird cape on it. Anyway, this could go on forever. Next question or person.
This is so good. So good. because I have a feeling that I think I know what Dan is. I'm going to go to Dan now. So how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing really well, thank you. How are you doing, Joe?
I had so much fun last night.
Did you now?
Shit out of an angel. It was fantastic.
You guys smashed it. Like I remember speaking to Josh on the Rebel DMs, and he was like, "Joe's not going to like it. Like I'm going to kill them in one round. It's not going to be great for story." And then by he was mopey. He's mopey by the half time. I know Fizzle, you're in the you're in the chat, so you can hear me. Like he was just like, "Well, I was just going to finish anyway. You're gonna kill me anyway. I don't know what I can do anymore." I was like, "How did this turn around?"
Yeah, I think it was literally. So the Solar can move around lots, but we had so much range that it didn't matter where it went, it could get hit, and I thought that was really interesting. Exactly, too much range. Exactly.
It was really cool to be able to see it as a viewer and be able to see the DM screen and just watch Fizzle go like, "Oh, he's going to use a legendary action," and the Solar just goes. And you couldn't see it. Like he was directly over you at one point, and then was like right up on one of the statues, and then appeared. Like it was great.
Yeah, it was really good fun. Really good fun. So yeah, massive love to Fizzle. Josh Phillips, you're an absolute legend for that. And if you do want to see that, that's available on our VODs. But yes, Dan, I had a great time on that.
I'm so glad. It was lovely to see you out and. Considering how busy you've been last couple of weeks, it was nice to see you in your play and in your in your fun time playing another fucking dickhead Red Wizard of Thado, Joe. Like, what the hell? They can all get in the bin.
I did notice, Dan, that you were leading getting in the bin. So
yeah, because do we have to have another conversation about Icewind Dale? I know you guys have all had a session without me, but I think we all know that there is going to be one less Red Wizard of Thay in this world because they're getting eaten, Joe.
Yeah. Unless they become immensely powerful, sound like a god, and I don't know, squashy.
Yeah, I don't see it happening, though. I don't see it happening in the next, 10...
All right, I got another one. What's eating Gilbert Gottfried? How's that for a... Place Leo DiCaprio with Gilbert Gottfried. That's great. Right, that's enough. Anyway, sorry, back to you.
So what type of egg are you, Dan?
I want you to tell me what kind of egg you thought I was, Joe.
You were a fizzy tantastic egg.
That's so crowbarred. So crowbarred. I would have gone with
I know what you are. I think that you're an Easter egg. That it's way past Easter, and you're still in the cupboard, and you look at the person and you go, how have you had the mental fortitude to not eat this entire thing in one sitting? It's months since Easter now. You're delicious, but you should have been eaten by now, is what we're thinking.
Yeah, I'll go with that. This is great. This is join us next week for what kind of egg do we think Dan is?
So what did you describe yourself as, Dan? There we go. We should do this.
I think I would. Rob wasn't too far off. I would have gone with a Cadbury's cream egg.
Yeah.
Oh,
because they are glorious throughout the year. I actually tried to make an Easter egg sized one once. I actually did make an Easter egg sized one once for someone for Easter.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's too much goop,
cut
though.
the top off. Got a hot knife, cut the top off. Found Easter egg goopy ice cream that they had on offer. Poured it in, and then just like remelted the top and stuck the thing on, and then served it to someone straight from the freezer for Easter.
Oh, just salivated.
Wow.
I've also made a bong out of an Easter egg once. That was fun.
So good. But what I like as well about your cream egg one as well is that like people eat you in their own ways.
Absolutely. How do you do it?
I really enjoyed that. That's a great one. Okay, so I'm glad you're well. I'm glad that you're a cream egg.
I did some combat teaching this week. I went out into the field and did some combat teaching with one Evie James. She tried to bring her giant purple rocket launcher, but I was like, no, it's not that kind of fighting. We have to do hand to hand. But that was really fun. It was fun to get out and and do some more fighty bits with some new peeps, and hopefully we're going to do one more before the end of the month.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah, it was great.
Okay, well, we're going to pop over and see Gabby. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm good, thanks. I'm good. I've been playing some Skyrim. Killed my first horse. I jumped off a mountain. I don't like how it takes so long to get everywhere.
So, is this the same character?
Had to start anew. Couldn't act.
You had to start new.
Yeah, start anew. Same though. Like can't remember what species he is. Something good with arrows anyway. Not that I use arrows. They're too fiddly. But yeah, I really like stealing gold off dead bodies. Like, honestly, the buzz I get from like going onto one of them drug things and being like, fucking 7 gold, give it. I've literally never bought anything.
It adds up
for
though.
trophies.
It adds up.
5,000 gold
If you
pieces.
don't buy anything,
What?
you end up with loads.
Yeah.
Wow. So literally you're just taking like a little trophy from every single body
Yeah.
and hoarding them all.
Yeah. Yeah, and then jumped off this mountain and the horse died, but whatever. Apparently you shouldn't get attached to horses anyway.
Okay. You just steal
I don't
them all.
know. That's maybe true for real life.
It's life advice, yeah.
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 Don't
But
fall
it
in
takes a
love
long
with
time.
horse.
You can't. I'd want to steal a car and like get somewhere, but you can't. Obviously, can you? So.
No. But it is a absolutely gloriously beautiful game. So actually the scenery is really nice.
The shadows are really good. I know that sounds mad, but like when you walk past a flame, whatever, a torch, and your shadow like goes past you, I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I agree.
That's cool.
Especially when you consider the game's like 10 years old as well. And I think they're redoing it, aren't they, for PS5? I think they're doing a GTA and just remastering it for the new system.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, definitely jump on that for sure.
There are people who played that game as kids whose kids are now playing that game.
Yeah,
It's
that's cool.
so epic. So epic.
It's just too good.
I prefer a single player to these, like, I know they're doing an online one now where it's like made it a bit more like sort of like Call of Duty and stuff, or the new Fallout game where it's all become this like monthly subscription online kind of thing. I don't get it. I just want to run around and do side quests. Like I'm not on the game to socialize.
Yeah.
I'm in the game to be in a dark room by myself, trying to steal coins of a dead body. That's kind of what I'm here for. So, what type of egg would you be, Gabby?
Scrambled egg with milk and butter and salt, and you can all cry about there being milk and scrambled egg, but it's nicer.
I'm here for it.
Yeah,
Right, okay,
same.
good. I knew there was going
You're
to be
wrong.
beef from some
You're
people.
totally wrong.
Got me then.
Yeah, scrambled egg. Yeah. Maybe on really white, cheap bread, salted butter, tomato ketchup, and hot sauce. For no reason that I like eating it and I don't eat bread anymore.
I've seen
Fucking
how you eat it.
masterpiece.
The ketchup, you may as well put the ketchup straight into the pan with how you mix it all together until it's just like kind of a B movie horror version of Brains.
I'll start doing special effects with it, and then you'll see. Then you'll be laughing on the other side of your face. Also, a burger place I used to work at, they used to do burgers on Krispy Kreme donuts, and I think you'd like them, Jim.
I'm up for that.
What?
On a Krispy Kreme donut?
Yeah, I've heard that like a frosted donut with fried chicken is supposed to be really good.
Yeah. I've never tried it because that's it seems too bizarre for me. But I reckon, Joe, you'd love it. You know, like the sweet with the savoury.
Yeah, man. Absolutely, I'm there. Like, you're sorry, but like American pancakes, bacon and maple syrup is the best. Like, by a long way. Like, just having the bacon and the maple syrup. I don't know what it's about it, but it is beautiful.
Like the salty and the sweet, do you think?
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm.
Krispy Kreme burgers. I'm just looking at them now.
I literally, as she talked about scrambled egg, I made like what I think was the best scrambled egg I've ever made this week, and I was so happy with it. And then we just like I put butter in the pan, I mix up the 2 eggs, and then I put the eggs in, but I didn't mix it for a while. And then I sort of just gave it a little touch, and then gave it a mix. And what happened, it was these like really big chunks. Like it wasn't like kind of fluffy and massive, but it was little big chunks. Bit of soy sauce, a little bit of Korean red pepper flakes. And it was just like perfect. I was so happy with it. So happy. The only thing it would have done better was a bit of spring onion, and it would have been perfect. But like,
yeah, dude, spring onion. Yeah, that sounds nice. You ever cooked an omelette? I've never even eaten an omelette.
You never eaten an omelette?
No.
Oh, this list goes on and on and on. We could be here for the whole stream with things that Gabs hasn't eaten that everyone else has.
No, I have tried celery, peanut butter, and a strawberry now, though. So,
how long ago was this?
Strawberry was like last Thursday. Everything else was like Saturday before.
30 years. 30 years and hadn't tried a strawberry before.
Yeah.
Right. Everyone gets there in the end. I bet it's food you haven't tried, Rob.
Yeah.
Name food. Name some food, and I'll tell you if I've tried it.
Before you met me, you'd never tried chips, cheese, and gravy.
I'd eaten those things separately.
That's not the same thing.
That's not the same thing. And you
That's like,
That
oh no,
one.
I've eaten flour, butter, and sugar, but I've never had a cake.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rob.
Keep pushing, guys. Keep pushing.
Have you ever had a kumquat?
Yes.
No, that's a no.
I know what that is. Yes.
Is it them little orange things?
Yeah, it's like fancy dessert fruit.
Yes, I have.
Oh,
yes, I
piss.
have actually.
Okay. Have you ever had a Sharon fruit?
Oh, Sharon.
I thought you were going to say, have you ever had a shower infection? No, don't know what a Sharon fruit is.
There we go. Fruit named Sharon.
Anyway, okay,
on the chat,
Point
give us
made.
things.
Point made.
Give us stuff on the chat that you think that's something that you haven't tried as a person on the chat that you think you should actually. And I'm going to challenge everybody to try something new this week and try a piece of food you haven't had before. So maybe you have an omelette this week. You never know.
Yeah. I think we should all order in some Oreo hummus from Kurt, or some dessert hummus to dip in with some Oreos. No, that's fine.
Okay, I'm up for that.
I'm gonna have a Krispy Kreme burger.
Yeah. Oh, do you know what? Lucky Chip, they did a Stranger Things menu, and I went for my birthday years ago, and they had a burger that was sandwiched between 2 Eggos. Like, you know, like the crisscross, like waffle pancakey thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
That sounds good actually. I think
They also
anything beige and deep fried, I'm in.
Yeah.
Like,
They also
doesn't
did a
matter what
Breaking
it is.
Bad menu, and the Jesse Pinkman one was a burger with peanut butter and jam,
Oh.
and it was
So-
banging.
Oh, so it's a bit like satay, like having a satay thing.
It was a nice, like, you know, sweet and salty.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I can see that.
If we carry on, we might just make
face.
Rob vomit. This is
I think if I was an egg, I would be bog standard, fried egg, crispy bottom. Like, I'm feeling a bit crispy bottom today. That's not how I like my fried eggs, but that's what I feel like today.
you just feel a bit crispy bottom.
Yeah. And I think it's been flipped as well, so it's got like, it's not yellow top, it's got that kind of slightly bluer top on it. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
So that's how I'm kind of
Sure.
feeling today.
Do you reckon the people on the chat like think that we've got some sort of like contractual obligation to talk shit for the first exactly half an hour before we get into D&D
right?
stuff?
It's always 26 minutes on the dot. Like, 26 minutes. All right. Well, I'm sorry, everybody on the chat, for talking about eggs for half an hour. Like, it also confounds me that I have no idea how we managed to do it. Do you know what I mean? It's like we all go in like, oh, we're gonna be really quick today. Yeah, we're gonna be really fast today, and then we always talk about COD shit for 26 minutes.
Although in fairness, like it's not like we get a sudden uptick around 7:30 of people. Like people are in from the start. People want the bullshit as much as they want the D&D. Like
I think it's definitely my fault because I'm chairing this meeting, as it were. I'm definitely setting the agenda, which is eggs.
eggs.
Exactly. Well, maybe we should kind of get into it a little bit more. But before we do, I want to say that if you enjoy the channel, as you can see, we are currently 25 away from our next follower goal, which is 550. So if you are lurking in the background, you want to give us a little follow. We have lots of things in store for this channel coming up in the next couple of months. Like, for instance, like our TPKs that we just seen. But we do have other things that are coming up, like our Arcane Ward, for instance, which is propping up very soon at some point, which we will let you know. And you'll never know these things unless you give us a follow. So do give us a follow. If you are lurking in the background, don't feel like you have to engage with the chat. We're not going to push you in any way. Hope that you enjoy us talking about eggs and playing some D&D. And those of you who are in the chat, you are the best, and I love you so much because you're our family, and we're always here with us, and we love you so much. So thank you so much for being with us. Of course, it's also September, so if you do want to give a sub this week, it is slightly cheaper, which is always nice, and that always helps us continue what we're doing here, including artwork, which we've got some artwork hopefully in the mix that will be coming out very soon, which I'm very excited about. I have no idea who it could possibly be of. But that would be exciting when it does come through. Oh, thank you very much. There we go.
Thank you, Daz.
Thank you, Daz. And I say it's good to see a lurker here. But again, I'm really happy for you to sit and feel comfortable back there and enjoy your subscription that you just got from GP Daz, our fantastic moderator that we love very much. All right, so last week was quite a busy affair as we had the opening of Dragon's Den. I don't know. Have you prepared something this week, Mr. Thompson?
I will be honest with you. I really couldn't be arsed today, and I was sitting there like, no, I really can't be arsed. And then something came to me, so I have something prepared. Are you ready?
I think so.
This may be familiar. You're never
like
sure what's going to happen.
We're never ready for these.
Okay, this may be something some people find familiar. It's stupid fucking drunken antics at the Dragon's Den. A drink or two were surely due, but have no more than 10. The place was full of lords and ladies, enemies and friends, for stupid fucking drunken antics at the Dragon's Den. No, I'm diddle-diddle, I'm diddle-I, I'm diddle-diddle, I'm diddle-I, I'm diddle-diddle, I'm diddle-I, I'm diddle-diddle, I'm diddle-I. The evening started pleasantly with Baggi's jars of fancy. Oshi and Big Phatts had drank a bottle of romancy. Now the morning after they were feeling rather antsy. The bar was soon to open, so it's time to up the ante. It's stupid fucking drunken antics at the Dragon's Den. A drink or two will surely do, but have no more than 10. The place was full of lords and ladies, enemies and friends, for stupid fucking drunken antics at the Dragon's Den. Oh, I'm diddle-diddle, I'm diddle-I, I'm diddle-diddle, I'm diddle-I, I'm diddle-diddle, I'm diddle-I, I'm diddle-diddle, I'm diddle-I. Special guest was introduced about halfway through the night, the one and only pop sensation Baxter Backlewright. If he had gone and sang his song, then many would have died, but Pups was quick to punch him and then dragged him out of sight. We met the Castellanters and it didn't go as planned. They threatened us with violence lest we followed their demands. They left with smiling faces after shaking a few hands. Then Oshi found that her friend Tuck was dead as well as damned. Oh, stupid fucking drunken antics at the Dragon's Den. Place was full of place was full of lords and ladies, enemies and friends, for stupid fucking drunken antics at the Dragon's Den. There you go.
So good. So good.
I wasn't ready for that. That was absolutely brilliant. Bravo, it says in the chat. So that was absolutely incredible. Well done, my friend. But yes, I think there was absolutely everything in that. Apart from, I don't know if you talked about Baggi's vest, but other than that, it was absolutely brilliant.
No Baggi's vest. No mention of Phatts doing the robot.
Yeah.
Although I must say, I have noticed one thing about these recaps is because they're getting so epic. I'm finding it so hard to put them on social media. So this one's definitely within the 2 minutes 20 for Twitter. So thank you very much, Rob. Thank you so much.
So of course it was the opening. The Castellantas arrived. You had a somewhat of a good time. Auntie Patrick was there.
Auntie Patrick was there.
Yeah, we had a nice little time with Pups and Auntie Patrick. Baggi got a little too drunk. But at least she knew how drunk she was. That was a good thing.
Excellent.
And really, everything kind of went to plan. Except for finding at the end, really, with good old Tuck. Good old Took. I wrote it down and I was literally like, is that Tuck or Took? Took or Tuck? And I literally sat here for about 10 minutes going, Took or Tuck?
Tick-tock. Tick-tock. Tick-tock.
Which they found was a little pin had been placed somewhere on the neck. A small pressure point with a note, which had an I written on it. Just so you're clear, everybody, it wasn't the eye from the Watchers. It was like an 8-spoked with an eye inside of it, kind of denoting a certain faction of players that had come in and done the deed. So, I thought it would be good if we maybe start. How does that sound?
Great.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. So, let me get the right theme ready and actually turn my music up. There we go. All right. I see like a very dark place. It feels as if like fibers are sort of coming out of the walls itself. The sound is like loud, muffled bass sounds. As a sort of something jiggles inside this area, and the camera falls and lands upon 2 coins. As we kind of see these coins in the darkness, they're actually a ginormous coins, the size of cars, copper pieces. As we see, like, suddenly it's burst full of light from above as this huge fingertips fall down, rummage, and take out these 2 coins. It feels as if like a truck is being pulled out of the ground, as it seems to go on forever as the coins move forward, as we see the emblem of Waterdeep upon them. As they come out into the light, we then start to follow them. As we come through, we see that these coins get separated and placed upon the eyes of a young dwarf. Cut to.
Giddy from their evening of dancing, debauchery, and domination at the Dragon's Den, the Castellantas didn't notice the diminutive shadow emerging from their carriage as they made their way up the grand staircase of their villa. After changing out of his white and gold splendour, Victorio Castellanta failed to detect the shadow creeping up behind him as he stood in the doorway. But he did notice the blinding pain in the back of his leg as his shin bone was splintered by a wooden staff. 1. He noticed the elbow driving down onto the top of his thigh as his shin bone pierced the skin. 2. As he dropped to his knees, he certainly noticed the side kicks to his flank as his ribs cracked 1 by 1. 3, 4, 5. The axe kick to the crown of the head. 6. 2 thumbs piercing each of his eyes. 7 and 8. Blood pouring down his face, he failed to notice the face of his assailant as they enveloped his neck in their arms. Snap. 9. We don't see the assailant, but we do see the look on Amelia Castellanta's face as her eyes widen in horror as the assailant advances on her. We cut to Amelia's eyes again, but they're calm, composed, and confidently fixed on a point across the bar in the Dragon's Den. The music is playing and the party is in full swing. We cut to Pups, the subject of her attention. His calm exterior, it gives no hint of the hellish rage building up inside of him. He whispers a single word under his breath, and in the time it takes for a drunken halfling to cross the frame, we find Pups has disappeared. Cut to.
A close-up of a cigar, half-smoked and now sodden, floating in a glass of whiskey. We pan slowly backwards, revealing at least a dozen empty tumblers, some of them cracked and chipped, sitting atop a stained and sticky bedside table. We see a messy bed, the covers thrown carelessly over a hulking figure. A heavy metal foot pokes out from under the bedsheets. The room is trashed and stinks of alcohol and stale smoke. Suddenly, the figure bolts up from the bed, looking a pale grey instead of his usual shiny silver. Phatts lurches towards a bucket beside the bed and then proceeds to vomit out all the items he had previously stored inside of himself. Cut 2.
She cradled his head as salty splodges dropped from her eyes. He almost seemed asleep, but there was no rise and fall in his chest, just stillness, just silence. His great laugh no longer rattled round the room, his inquisitive eyes no longer searching for the next moment of fun, his smile no longer radiating around Oshi's heart. People rushed around, but they seemed faded out, the sounds muted, the voices far away. Before she knew it, she set his dwarven body down on the huge table, a great metal hand on her shoulder. "He's dead," she choked through her throat. A quick goblin closed and locked the door. "Tunk, tunk," she whispered. "What?" Baggi said from her chair. The three of them looked at each other. "Tunk," she spluttered again. Big Phatts' hand squeezed harder on her shoulder. The discomfort brought her eyes into focus on the dwarf in front of her. Her eyes truly seeing him. "Tuck," she gasped. It's Tuck. I said Tuck." No one said anything as she turned for the door. Pups quickly and expertly unlocked the door so she could glide through it and out of the room away from their stares. Cut 2.
Go on, Baggi, have another slug veil, it can hurt. I'd have one more ale blasto if it weren't in actual slug form. Baggi hates it when Blasto gets all pissed and magical at parties for no reason. A tall elf named Rax butts in with wine glass in hand, and we all notice how delicate the stem of the glass actually is, almost as though it's made of one single golden hair from the elf's head. Rax says, "Tone down the whole blastoed thing, will you? I don't want any evidence left behind, and your pints of ale in slug form will leave nothing but slime on the carpet. Please, refrain." "Oh, you are no fun," says Blasto, as with a whip of his wrist he turns the moist, pulsing brown slug in his hand back into a tankard of ale and downs it in one go. "Was that so hard, being a bit more normal?" Baggi asks. "Well, none of us are normal, Baggi, which is why we're here. Ain't that right, everyone?" The dorm room cheers to this in celebration, and Baggi's face looks around at the people in her life for the time being. And an extremely large, natural, and possibly slightly drunken grin expands over her face. For tonight, she has forgotten Blackstar and her three friends. She doesn't spend tonight wondering what Oshi is getting herself into, or what Pups has stolen for her this time, or indeed what havoc Tunk may be innocently wreaking on the lane. The following day, Baggi would lie for Blasto about his whereabouts when this party was happening. Sadly, someone at the Order had snitched on Barnabas Blastwind for using magic while having a party, which is strictly against the rules. And Baggi, always deemed as the sensible one, was called upon to find out the truth. So she lied, giving Barnabas an alibi. It was on this same day, the day after that party, that she found out that Tunk had died. Whilst she drank, death sucked the life slowly out of her friend, and she hadn't given any of them a thought that night. We cut to Baggi now. Baggi thinks of all of that as she stares at the ceiling of her room, which is slightly spinning, as she tries to piece together her conversation earlier with Amelia Casamanta. It was surprisingly easy to talk to her. She felt numb and confident, and the guilt from that previous party night with Blasto was manageable. As she ponders this, her eyes wide open, grabbing onto the walls for stability, she finds herself automatically getting out of bed, stumbling down the dimly lit stairs further and further, and back into the bar for another drink. Cut 2.
As we see now another darkened wood-panelled room. We can see that through the windows the sun is setting, but we don't see that many roofs tops upon this city house. Seems as if maybe it's slightly higher than the rest. As the camera moves across the room, we can firstly come across to a large half-orc. Huge scar down its face comes down to a chipped tooth that sticks out from its lips. Down his massive body, we can see the battle scars and the tattoos across his arms. As we move across, we can see this small halfling using a knife to pick out the meat from his teeth. The camera continues on as we can just see this wizard who's just like conjuring a rat, squashing it. Conjuring a rat, squashing it. As the camera moves through towards a warlock who's there just constantly pulling his blade from his wrist and placing it back in again, smiling at the others as he begins to tell a joke. Suddenly a hand slams upon the desk as the whole room goes quiet. As we can see this character in this kind of purple robes. We almost can't see their faces. They have this golden gauntlet as they pour forth a small porcelain tub filled with soil. We can't hear what they're saying, but he places a seed inside the soil. His hand waves across as suddenly the seed begins to grow into a small little sapling and up. Almost as if 70 years move past, a small bonsai tree begins to kind of grow in the pot. As he talks, suddenly his hand comes over as the heat begins to melt from his fingertips, landing upon the leaves of the tree itself as it bursts into flames. As we watch a single leaf swing and fall in the darkness, it lands upon the floor. With the smell of burning wood, the sapling, the youth, seems to kind of disappear inside this smell. As we watch it go down through its floor, through the many, many floors, down towards the sewer. Then we go past, until we come to a door that's ancient-like, as we flow through like ghosts, into a room filled with hundreds and thousands of dragons.
Oh, that was already beautiful.
Poison, looks like. As we just see this 2 coins being placed upon the eyes. You see that? You see where it's got like this sort of gristleness underneath the lip. Alright, and his skin feels a little bit damp. Usually poison anyways. As this like this almost city guard kind of looks up at you. So it was your party, was it?
That's right.
Right. Anyone know this unfortunate fellow?
There were a lot of guests there last night.
I see. Well, as I said, it looks like poison. This mark here, and he sort of like his finger sort of points towards the note that's pinned against his neck here. I've seen that before. You see, that's the Xanathar's symbol right in the centre there. It was like the pin is like pierced through the pupil, you know what I mean?
Mm.
But even that will choke the veins of any dwarf. I'm not sure if you've seen a dwarf be poisoned before, as he sort of like looks up towards you and sort of catches your eye, Oshi.
No, never.
He's just going to kind of look at you for a second as he rolls an insight check on you.
Ooh.
Whoa.
So he rolls a 23. It's all right. We've all seen harsh things in our past. Was it a friend?
Yeah.
Dwarfs are good like that. I do know this fellow. Got a whole filing cabinet with his name on it. This is Tookmaster. Master of the Assassin's Guild. Here in Waterdeep. Quite possibly the highest of the highest when it comes to assassins. So wondering what he was doing in your opening. Don't worry, I'm not police, I'm just the coroner.
Well, then I'd keep that wonder to yourself, coroner.
Right. I understand. I'll place it in my report that there's an unknown at the party.
I think the highest of the highest of the high from the Assassin's Guild can probably come and go where they please without detection from even the people who run the house, don't you?
Are you threatening him here?
No.
No. It sounded like a threat, that was all.
Pups is pissed off.
Looks at you and he's like, are you okay?
It's been a long night, as I'm sure you can imagine.
It's hour 6 of my shift as well. It's been a bit of a long night for me. Yeah, you're very true. He can sneak in anywhere he wishes. My fear is that what did he do to piss off the Xanathar? So he kind of looks around knowing, and he catches Big Phatts' eye and he's like, probably should stop talking aloud, shouldn't I?
I'd suggest that. Speaking of sneaking as well, it would be greatly appreciated if when getting rid of this body you can do it through the back instead of the front. Bad for business.
Oh, usually do that for a fee.
Fine.
And he kind of pops his hand out to watch you. You can see his fingers are sort of darkened from like the different chemicals that he's obviously been using or touched, but they are definitely stained his fingers. And the smell of like, I suppose it almost smells like kind of off acids. Kind of like seem to cling to his clothing.
Phatts will put 5 gold in his hand.
Thank you very much. He kind of like puts it in his pocket. I would be warned though. Assassin's Guild knows he died here. They might be coming back to ask questions themselves.
We were expecting as much.
So you know the guild then. Oh, that was me thinking aloud again. Well, I would say sorry for your loss, but as you don't know him, I'll just carry him out. Come on, Cecil! As you see this large, almost like an Irish hound, sort of like the ginormous dogs, sort of pull this kind of small cart which has the body of Took on it, as they kind of go out towards the back door. And the dog sort of like stops and sniffs the door frame before trying to move. And just as he kind of gets like about to sit down, you can see this kind of like ethereal hand come out and just sort of slap it on its bum, and then he runs off as the cart sort of disappears out. The police are then sort of start their kind of clearing up procedures. They're not really bothered by this actually. It's very clear to them who the perpetrator is, and actually they're quite tired. It's the end of their shift. They just want to get out. As they kind of like turn to you and goes, Congratulations on your opening. I hope it was a fruitful one. As the captain kind of like bows towards you and makes their way out, leaving you alone for the first time since the incident.
Fuck.
As you see that Carla is also sat at the bar as well. So there's sort of the five of you there. Little Rix is asleep by the fire, all tuckered out.
What are we gonna do? I don't all start at once.
About
I'm
what?
just, yeah, exactly. What do you mean?
I don't know about the dead dwarf in the booth, or the fact that our entire dance floor nearly ripped itself limb from limb, or I don't know, the fact that the fucking Castellantas were here.
Well, to be honest, I don't think that's a bad thing.
As his cup of coffee slides in front of Baggi.
Thank you. I don't think it's a bad thing because now we have an inn. I was speaking to Amelia, being all bag leader, and I meant to be meeting her. So that's one good thing. The only thing that worries me is that we had Xanathars here and we didn't even know it. And they clearly want us to know that they were here.
Do you think it was
Otherwise.
even about us? Do you think ours was just the house in which this person got killed?
It's hard to say, isn't it?
It's too public. It was done here for a reason.
Do you think it was against us? So everyone might see and then they'd find out about everything and then they wouldn't want to come here and then we'd fail.
Listen, Carla, do you mind giving us a minute, please?
Yeah, of course. I was trying to do some maths anyway. And she sort of collects sort of like her kind of cards, business cards and everything else that sort of like come through that night. And also the takings for the cigars, because many of those were sold. The cigars were sold. As she kind of disappears into the kitchen.
Shit, sorry, I didn't even think.
It's fine. You just gotta be careful who's around, listening. I think that message was meant for us. And it likely has everything to do with what we found at the Growhund Manor. The Castellanters know what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Victorio, whoever the fuck his name is. He's aware. He has, for want of a better word, threatened us. I did not act kindly to that. But as far as the public know, we had lords and ladies down here, and even Baxter Backelrod showed up. Business will be fine. We're going to have to speak to some people. And he looks towards Oshi. Have you got an in with the Assassin's Guild?
Well, and you took.
You might have to do some damage control. Are you okay? You
Fine.
mentioned some shit earlier. I wasn't the only one that heard it. You said tunk.
No, I said took. I can sort it out. The less said about it, the better.
Fine.
Castellantas threatened you.
Yep.
What did he say?
You said we are not aware of the game that we are playing and the players in it, and that we would be squashed if we did not I suppose give over what we had.
And you guys probably can't see it, but Pups' eyes light up as a giant smile launches across his face.
Did you do a history check, Rob?
Yes. No.
I'm going to take the 16. Because the smile in Pups' face is what reminds you of this. It's Victorio's smile. As you remember the conversation about how actually it wouldn't be you who would be squashed. It would be the residents of Blackstar Lane.
Blackstar.
That they would be turned into essentially a gin slum and drug slum, and the children would be pushing drugs and into crime.
Look, it's not all he said. He started with trying to get to us. I said we don't give a shit about that, and he moved on to hitting us where it might hurt a bit more on Blackstar. He says that he has the power to change that place for the worse, and he will do it at a moment's notice. He mentioned Rix's family.
As you all of you kind of look across and you just see the sounding, like curled up sleep of this kind of small kobold dressed in great finery, asleep. His hands sort of under his cheek, so you can see the fire sort of bouncing off his red scales.
Perfect.
What?
Do you have any idea how under their skin we must be for him to make that kind of threat? Do you have any idea how much of a problem we must be if they're going to throw all that weight around and threaten the lane? I want no harm to come to any people on that road. But we're not bugs to be squashed here. Otherwise, they would have squashed us already. It's a start.
Amelia tries to make me back off as well, I think. She said something about the game and I pretended I didn't really know anything, and then she implies that because we were beginners that, well, we wouldn't be able to compete properly.
Why would they even bother? Why would they even bother come down here, show their face, show their hand? Exactly. And that's assuming that they don't even know that we've got the backing of the Open Lord.
I suppose it's because they think we've got something that they want.
Well, that's not entirely untrue, is it?
Nope.
They're rattled. For the first time ever, they're rattled by a couple of kids from Blackstar Lane.
Don't be so cocky. They may be rattled, but they have a lot of power. Them coming down here last night was just to show us how easy it is for them to get close to us and how difficult it is for us to get close to them.
For now. But we got plans.
Fine. We better start putting them in motion.
What else did you guys find out? I mean, probably one of the hardest things, if we've got to kill the Castellantas, obviously we know we can't kill them. We're going to have to be a bit more creative in that sense. But did you find anything else out? Any weak points? Anything that they seem to care about? Anything? Was there any tell?
Could I do a history check?
Mm-hmm.
Just to see how much I remember. Oh, 19. I mean, she didn't actually find out that much, but well,
You remember that Amelia Castellanta likes to be the centre of attention in a party. You also remember how flamboyant and loud they are. Everything must be outward. You don't know, there might be a way of using that, but that's something that you do remember.
all I know is Amelia in particular. She is what an old friend of mine used to call a lesh. Absolutely loves a drink, loves being the life and soul of every party, loves commanding everything, telling people what to do, being in charge, being the centre of attention. And I seem to remember Phatts, you did a
Nope.
dance.
No, you do not. Nothing happened. Spoke to Victorio. That's all that happened.
No, I'm pretty sure I vividly remember you doing some sort of.
And I just asked who the hell invited Baxter Baccalaureate?
Is that who that was?
Yes.
He was very handsome.
Yeah, I just.
Thank you for dealing with him.
I've never seen you all like that before in my life. It scared me.
I threw my best at him.
You did. I think that's what scared me the most.
Oh, she would have liked that though.
As you start to talk, it's sort of like the sound gets kind of muffled as you're joking about Baxter Baccalaureate. As you can sort of like the sound becomes sort of more and more bass-like and almost like it's underwater as the camera kind of focuses over on Oshi's face. As it comes closer and closer, she seems to be staring at the centre of the table. And then she hears her name, Oshi.
Yeah.
I was just saying you liked it. You would have liked me when I threw the vest.
Yeah. Yeah, the best. That was horrible.
Oh. Are you okay?
I'm fine. I'm trying to come up with a plan. We can't all waste our time talking about vests and dancing.
Fine. Well, look, if what I remember is true and Victorio was on the dance floor doing some sort of competition with someone, then obviously he likes being the centre of attention too. So maybe we can use that to our advantage. I don't know how. Maybe that'll help your plan, Oshi.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I got a business card. Lord Ararat said he wanted to talk.
About what?
I don't know.
Oh.
But it may be useful for us to try and connect with as many high-powered people as possible.
Well, that's a start.
I also don't think we should leave this house without a blade from now on.
I don't need one.
Fine. Actually, I expected you carry one anyway, Baggi. Let's not get caught surprised. They can get us in our home, they can get us on the street.
So you sort of feel like the street, and it's just the thought of that word, the street, and it pulls all of these different memories through. Not only of how far you've come since that place, but also the idea of that place falling back towards the times before the blades, back towards those times when the City Watch ruled it with a iron fist and a constantly empty pocket. when the people were poor and starving. And that thought kind of begins to kind of kick through your head. As we kind of see the table sort of almost start speeding up slightly as characters begin to kind of move away. But it seems as if one character sort of stays still in all of this. As Baggi's sort of figure disappears and Big Phatts sort of comes over, the chair falls over as his blurred image kind of disappears. And then Pups sort of sits in stillness, and then suddenly that disappears. As we're left with Oshi at the table. As the sort of time begins to kind of really slow down again, as the twilight light sort of starts twinkling through the windows. You just hear this kind of like tapping. As her blade is sort of just like tapping on the wood, on the top of the wood of the table. And it begins to kind of grind in a small hole. I kind of wanted to ask you, what are you thinking about here? Oshi?
She's thinking about how when she got Billy Blade, it didn't actually make her feel any better afterwards. Like there was a sense of like her ego was boosted because she got to kill him, but it didn't make her feel any better about Tunk. And so now she's like wondering if, she's just like wondering what, and almost like not like that's something that's taken her hours to figure out. She's not really thinking about anything. She's singing. And she's worrying about having to go to the Assassin's Guild. Because she can't pretend to be anybody else there because they already know who she is.
Mm.
And so she can't like bullshit her way through it. And everywhere else in her life, including arguably the family, she can bullshit through. And she's worrying about having to go there.
So you kind of like see from like as the camera sort of swings around your face as you're sort of working these different things out. As we kind of see just past your shoulder, the kitchen door is a crack open. As we just see a notepad sort of moving slightly in the kitchen. I think you get up and you just go straight upstairs. What do you do at this early hours? Do you decide to stay in bed? Do you decide to go out? What do you decide to do at this point?
She goes to her room and she gets one of her trunks out and she counts all of her little armory she's got, and she realizes she's only got 3 different types of arrows. So she wants to try and go out and get like hundreds of arrows, but each all different types.
Did she take a purse of money as well?
Yeah, she takes, because I'm guessing Tuck might have given her the 350 gold for that. The editor of WD News, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she's got a bit of money. Yeah, so she takes that. Yeah, and then she's got 2 blades, one in each boot that she takes with her.
So you change into your normal clothes.
Yeah.
Mm.
And she goes out.
And she goes straight out.
Yeah.
As we see you kind of like literally stomp off as the door shuts behind you. As we see the dragon's head kind of close just around next to your shoulder here. As you just hear the bells ding. Bum, 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 bum. As you take a step down onto the dusty street, off into the early morning. Most of you upstairs are either sound asleep at this point. The long, long evening, whether that be from being vigilant and it's not drinking, or whether that means drinking 21 enough. The sleep sort of hits quite hard. I think Big Phatts, maybe you're in like dark contemplation. You're thinking about lots of different things at the same time here. You seem to be the one that's looking to the bigger picture in that conversation. I don't know if that's a good assessment of the conversation.
Phatts will kind of stay up, but he's drinking very heavily. That, like, my intro is that tomorrow morning is how he wakes up.
Okay, cool. So yeah, you drink. It's almost like instead of glasses, if you imagine Big Phatts drinks bottles of things. So instead of a shot of whiskey, it's a bottle of whiskey. Like, goes down, and you start swallowing things. So I think what we'll do is we'll come through to seeing you sort of drinking away, and it's sort of like just stumbling across, smashing into shelves, like falling into chairs as things are kind of smashing and breaking around you. As we see that moment of you turning and throwing up, as the day sort of swings around and it sort of goes into a blurred darkness, and then the open. Crusty, as you look down at the pile of oil that's next to your bed, and you see all of the objects that are lying inside the oil. Are there any that you recognize? I suppose you recognize all of them. They're your possessions. So what did you eat?
I mean, apart from there's like many a now sodden cigar, there's like coins, there was the card that Lord Arrowright gave him, which is now kind of floating in a greasy bile-like substance. There's I think that there's like a bandage or something, or some sort of a gem or something that was given to him when Tunk had saved him and he was taken for care again. Before he woke up properly, he was kind of like held together, not really by bandages, but by like clamps to like keep his arm from like falling off and shit like that. And he finds one of those clamps on the ground, and is thinking about like the promise he made everyone, like a life for a life kind of a thing. His life was saved, so now he'll give it to the group as help. But he's doubting whether this is all too much, whether he knew what he'd signed up for. He thought these are just a bunch of kids, you know, they can't get into that much trouble. This is a lot more trouble than he was expecting.
Yeah.
And so for a moment, as he's looking down at that clamp, he also looks out the window.
And I think you also see this kind of like very ornate looking bottle. That I think on first pass you kind of dismiss it as a small whiskey bottle, like maybe from a mini bar or something. But then you kind of go back and you look back at it, and it's kind of like it's actually kind of, it has like a weird eyeball in it, almost looks like tequila with a worm. As you find a clairvoyance potion, a potion of clairvoyance, in with your sick. Thank you, Red Panda Gamer.
And Phatts picks it up, and does he know what it is?
I think you can have a look and try and identify it if you want.
Yeah, I'll go for it. What do you reckon? Or is it Arcana?
It can be Arcana or Medicine or something that's whichever's better for you. You do have a bomb, to remember.
I won't use it now, but I'll use Medicine. Okay. See what happens.
Yeah, great.
19.
Yeah, so you know that this potion will allow you to cast clairvoyance spell. I'm gonna just pop this into the chat as well for you. Remember how to spell clairvoyance now. There we go. Great. So what you see is you create an invisible sensor within range in a location familiar to you, like a place you've visited or seen before, or in an obvious location that is unfamiliar to you, such as behind a door, around a corner, or a grovel in trees. The sensor remains in place for duration, and it can't be attacked or otherwise interacted with. When you cast a spell, you choose seeing or hearing. When you use the chosen sense through the sensor you can use the chosen sense through the sensor as if you were in its place. As an action, you can switch between seeing or hearing. A creature that can see the sensor, such as a creature benefiting from see invisibility or true sight, can see a luminous, intangible blob about the size of your fist.
That's pretty good.
Great. Phatts thinks about. He looks down at this potion and he looks down at the clamp again. And he thinks about Tunk. And he thinks about the questions asked about trying to get down to the 9 hells. And how there is a possible way of doing it. And then he looks back at the potion again. And he stores it in a cupboard and closes the door of the cupboard.
So
and then gets up.
The range of that clairvoyance is a mile.
Sure. But that range would it continue though as you move?
Well,
do you know what I mean? Like it.
So essentially, you would need to think of somewhere within a mile that you've been, or somewhere you haven't been.
Oh, I see. I see. Okay, cool.
And then you can see or hear from that location.
Right.
Or the way that you said you could leave it and then come back to it. I think I'm happy with that as well. But as long as it doesn't overtake like the duration of the spell, which is the duration is up to 10 minutes.
Right.
Okay. As you kind of like look out at the rising sun, it's almost like rust pellets underneath your eyelids. You know, really sort of the scraping sound that we all know what that scraping sound feels like, but you can hear it as like the rust in your eyeballs that nobody else has ever seen. But you know that you can feel it and you can hear it. As the morning sort of begins to break, the sun sort of peaks over the tops of this great metropolis as the fires start to kind of begin to be burning in the great kitchens of the North Ward across into the Sea Ward. As the sun rises just over the top of these rooftops and blinds us in a burning white, which will bring us into our first break of this evening. Okay.
Ooh. Wow.
Well done, everybody. It's going to be lovely to continue with this story. Finding some really interesting, lots and lots and lots of secret little things about these characters are coming through in these scenes, which I'm really excited about. But I hope everybody at home is enjoying themselves. I hope you four are enjoying yourself.
Absolutely.
Good. And say if you are watching and lurking and you enjoy it as well, do give us a follow, or even just pop and say hi on the chat. We have a really, really lovely group of people here. So we're going to pop off for about 5 minutes or so. Grab yourself a beer, grab yourself a gin, or of course grab yourself a cup of tea, and join us in about 5 or 10 minutes time. Unless we have anything we'd like to say. Yeah. Fantastic. And of course our wonderful mod GP Daz has there popped on all of our support links as well. So we'll see you in about 5 minutes time. See you in a bit. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Invisible
Dan.
beard.
Dan.
Dan.
Oh,
No.
Dan.
That just reminds me of The Simpsons.
Was that not what we were doing today?
Oh.
All right, I got the wrong schedule. Sorry.
Oh, Gabby did it, but she's on mute, so it just looks just like you lost your voice instead. Rob just does not partake in our gag time. Gag time.
I'm a classy guy.
Too busy thinking up pictures for Hollywood, isn't it?
Exactly.
That's right.
So Hollywood changes you, they say. All right, so keep it big, like beard tops onto like the magnets on my screen. It's just like these just like little eyes now.
So if you suddenly go black, it's because you stuck one over the webcam.
Sorry, that was just an advert that will play.
Right.
We're not sponsored.
Yeah, we do not pay. Not paid for anything. Alrighty, so we've had an interesting first half. I hope everyone's returned with us now. We've had an interesting first half of the show so far. I think I would like to actually start with a candle. That's sort of like a lone candle that seems to like be keeping very, very still, as if there's not much breeze that's kind of around it. It almost as if it creates a circle of light that means that the light itself could be in any place, in any cave, in any house, in any room, in any palace, in any village, in any forest. As we see like this small sort of shining light coming off what looks as if it's some sort of devil at the bottom of the face, and at the top we could just see these ears being slightly illuminated as this jewel of an amulet sort of slightly glows inside the light. As the eyes, you can see that they are actually open, and you can see these sort of little flickerings of the flame inside the pupils that are focusing down towards the light itself. And as we kind of go into that light, it's almost as if images begin to appear.
And as Pups observes the images, his eyes sort of widen. There's always been quite a stoicism to Pups, but there's almost like a return to a childhood wonder. He just looks into the flame without even deviating from the stare. Just reaches out into the ether and says, "I'm ready for more."
As the candle puffs out, see a door handle sort of turns. I'm not sure if you had finished in that scene, but it felt like that was... No, it was finished. Yeah, it was finished. Good.
Yeah.
As we see this like brass handle sort of turn and the door sort of swing open slightly as Big Phatts kind of makes his way out of his door and comes out into the hallway.
And it's a slight stagger, like a foot hits the floor and then stumbles a bit forward as he tries to catch himself again. A hand goes on the railing to steady himself. And then lumbers down the stairs. Doom, 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 doom.
As you kind of like come through in towards the kitchen, you hear this almost like scrabbling of paper from inside the kitchen.
He heads into it.
And you see Carla, and she has a pen and she's sort of writing out on her notepad and sort of calculating numbers. Oh, good morning.
Morning. Time to get here.
What time is it?
I don't know.
Just kind of looks around. I didn't sleep. Sorry, I was becoming very gross in what I was doing. My apologies.
Phatts sits down and lights a cigar.
As she goes and goes to close her notepad.
You said that you had something to figure out with numbers yesterday.
Yes. I was looking at projections of profits.
And
Okay, so I'm going to ask you all to roll a d20.
Ooh.
wow, that's low for everyone.
We've made a loss.
That was terrible.
Wow.
Oh no.
She says, I have a feeling that the murder may hurt us considerably.
Right.
We're going to be running about 350 gold pieces loss for the next 2 weeks.
And whose idea was it to have a free bar?
I didn't think somebody would be murdered in our bar. I don't know what it is that you four are into, but it's hurt the bar. And that's not my fault. I've been trying to find a way to fix it. But, if I leave, then maybe you can scrabble back less of a loss.
Carla, I'm not asking you to leave. But right now, I don't know how we're going to pay you.
I've already put my heart and soul into this already. I might as well keep going.
Thank you.
So her hand kind of comes forward and sort of like clunks. So she's holding on to like a finger of yours. Like, we'll get through this. This is like a blip. Beginning.
Is there a way we can spin this?
I think maybe it's good to push out maybe the we're the victims. Yeah.
Fine.
I mean, it might increase our debt for at least a week, but maybe it will help.
Send a letter to the news organizations. You're probably better at putting things in writing than I am.
Yep. She opens her notebook. And you can see there's a number of scrabbles and writings on the notepad. As she starts writing like an action point.
Say that we were the victims. Say that such a classy establishment and such notable guests, the scourge on this city that is the Zentarum and the Xanathars, took it upon themselves to have an opportunity to try and close down a new local business. We have upped security, and this will never happen again.
Again. Gotcha.
Our heart goes out to the families of those affected, blah, 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 whatever you need to say.
Of course. I got some coffee. You gotta fix up this pot. You know, it's cold.
It's fine. I'll still drink it.
Pours it out, and you can see it's definitely old coffee. It's like dusty. It looks dusty.
Is there any whiskey in here?
There's some at the bar. If you can get past Liv.
I'm gonna need some.
And so she's gonna get up and go through to the bar. She's left her stuff on the table as she kind of like literally just goes up to go over and pick up whiskey. And she returns with the whiskey bottle and just sort of tops you up.
Leave the bottle.
She pops it down and collects her notepad and pens and pencils. I'm gonna go get a couple of hours.
Very good.
And she sort of turns.
Carla.
Yes.
One way or another, we'll make sure you're compensated for the time that you've done.
And she just nods.
But I would ask you, stay running the business with as much as you know. You don't want to get involved in all of this.
Okay.
Have a good sleep.
Should I do a perception check for me?
But I use my advantage on this. $22.
When you said don't get involved in all of this, you could just see that she swallowed at that point. As she turns and walks out, dejected and tired, exhausted. As you hear the front door close. Bum 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 bum. As you stare out into the twilight, or into the rising sun. As you kind of look out, you can see like the dust where she's walked down the road and the dust kind of goes past the window. As we kind of see the dust sort of spiraling up from the feet of these two blades sort of stuck in each boot. With exhausted Oshi stomping through the lanes. I'm going to give you 1 level of exhaustion, Gabby, because you haven't slept. Where are you going?
She's going to an armory. Is that what you call them, where you buy weapons?
And what is it? Is it just standard arrows that you're looking for? Maybe we go to like an archery place or something like that.
Yeah. Probably the one that she normally goes to, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm. And sort of like bing, 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 bing as the doors open. You can see inside this place is like there's lots of like wooden carvings and like bear skins and like different animal skins are kind of around. As you see this guy, this really like impossibly old Goliath sort of there, just like straightening this piece of wood to make it into an arrow. Be with you a second, miss. He picks up a coffee and has a drink. Early bird catches the worm. Straight and true. So he lays the arrow down on this kind of like really rough wooden table, and it's like a workbench. Ammunition or bows?
Ammunition.
Ammunition. What are you hunting?
Beasts.
When it's down and he kind of picks up this, it looks as if it's like some sort of fox skin, and rolls it out on the table, and you can see that these arrows are like this, like massive, huge arrowheads on them, clearly used for like some sort of giant, or definitely something of killing beasts for sure, like this.
Many beasts.
Humans. It just like rolls up the worst of the beasts.
Mm.
And he puts his hand under the table and pulls out this black stone box. Pops it open. Inside you see there's 5 arrows. One is sort of, looks as if it's sort of dripping. It almost looks as if it's constantly liquid, like it's dripping. There's another that seems to kind of phase in and out of where it should be, almost as if it kind of turns to 3 and then turns to 1. You see another one that, although it doesn't burst any flame, you can feel the heat from it. You also see one that makes you not want to look at it, makes you want to look away, like your heart is beating fast and you want to run, get away from it. As your eyes turn onto another, all you can feel in your head is a headache, as a massive scream pushes through your head and into your ears. It almost feels like the sound is coming out of your own eyeballs. This type of beast.
Yeah. Untraceable?
Of course. Everything I make is untraceable. These 5 shatter on impact. As a cart goes past.
How much are they?
350 gold each. But for you, oh. You can have 2 for 350. Buy 1, get 1 free.
Thanks. Can I have... Well, what would you recommend?
Depends on the type of beast. Some, he kind of points to one that feels hot, should be burnt where they stand, where all can see. Some, and he points to one that you can't look at, should be afraid of you forever. Some, and he points to one, and as his finger goes towards the 5th one, scream like explodes in your head to the point where you kind of drop to a knee slightly. Should fall into madness. And sometimes there's more than one beast. There's the one that fires into 3 and comes back again. And some should drown in their own life. What beast are you hunting?
I don't even know. But there's definitely more than one.
Why are you buying ammunition for a beast you do not know?
It's an
Be like-
eventuality.
Be like taking a mousetrap to hunt an owl bear.
Hmm. And Archie just points to the one that goes to 3 and 1 again.
Yes. He kind of goes to pick it up, and you see him kind of like trying to figure out which one is the, and then he grabs hold of it, closes it, and wraps it with a small piece of leather. Lays it on the table.
And I know a couple of people who could do with burning where they stand.
Takes a pair of like tweezers and picks it up and puts it into what looks like it looks very scaly leather, and he rolls it up, and you can hear this as he ties it with a small bow. 350 gold.
She gives him the pouch.
He keeps his eye on you and just puts it down into his bag. No need to count it. He was a good man. His cheese sandwiches were particularly good.
He used to travel fast.
Very fast.
Do we take revenge?
That's to decide of the council. The meeting at the Dagger.
I've never even met anyone from the council.
You have. Took was the chair.
Hmm.
The master. There's also the power vacuum to be worried about.
It wasn't anything to do with me now.
Some believe that. I believe you.
Thanks.
Some don't. One thing is certain. He leans forward. Make that beholder burn.
Yeah. Might have to get in line.
We shall see. It's been 300 years since a full-scale assault from the Assassin's Guild. That was bloody. And moved us down to 4. 4. Oh. The council will not take it lightly, or a decision as such. Lightly.
Well, I'm sure I'll hear about it.
If you want to catch the meeting, you should go now. They have been meeting all night.
Am I allowed to turn up?
All are welcome.
Okay, thanks.
He sort of just closes it up. He pops the black box underneath again. Straight and true. as we kind of see you turn and walk out of this simple little workshop as he continues his work on the arrows. As you come back out into sort of like, now it feels like proper morning, so that white light is sort of kicking through. The air is sort of slightly less wet than it was when you entered. Where do you go from there?
She looks for coffee.
Your nose or your tongue, I don't really know how Oshi sort of smells. Tongue. And she sort of like can sort of smell or taste the fresh roasting coffee drums that are along the like stools that are along, that's starting to set up and get ready for the rush. And you pop over to grab coffee. I'm guessing before you head off. So you kind of walk over towards the coffee stand, and we see you from afar just paying over a few copper pieces and taking a mug and walking off for the rest of the way. As we kind of come round back to this blown out candle, and we see behind it is like an indentation in the cushion from where Pups was sat. But you're not sat there anymore. Where are you?
How much time has passed?
I would say about, I reckon 15-20 minutes.
Then I'd say in the space that we're in, Pups has started to pace. Like the serenity of the initial meditation and the lack of response has caused him to get very fractious. And so I think there's moments of pacing around in the space. There's moments of like practicing combinations in corners. I believe that there's like a trail of sweat moving down. It almost feels a bit like withdrawal.
Mm-hmm. So you're sort of like, you keep searching your arm as well for a tattoo that isn't there.
Yeah, but like constantly, almost like trying to concentrate and trying to like, almost like practice kata and practice shapes and things, and like almost like the martial arts equivalent of where Spider-Man is trying to figure out how to make web for the first time. Go web, go.
The problem is every time you do something, you break it.
Yeah.
And it smashes.
Yeah.
And you have to throw it across the room before taking a breath and then it's almost that you're trying to find the balance again.
Yeah.
Is that the idea that you're...
Yeah, I thinking about it from a player perspective, I believe Pups is trying to force this to happen rather than trying to allow it to happen. He's trying to like infuse everything through him, like trying to channel his ki, but trying to do it in a very forceful sense, in a very abrupt and almost desperate sense to try and make this happen.
Okay, let's do a wisdom save at disadvantage.
Okay. I'm here. 16.
You try to find balance. As you turn and you slam your fist into the wall of your room, your hand goes through the wooden cladding of the building. As you pull your hand back, you can see the cuts and the splinters there in your hand. It feels good. You think it worked. Like, maybe this power is a way of Finding balance.
And Pups looks at his knuckles and sort of reaches in and pulls. There's like a small, like, dark shade between his knuckles, and he pulls out like a 2-inch splinter and looks at it, drops it, stares at the wall, and punches it again. And as he punches it again, there's almost a flash to a moment of him hitting Vittorio Casalanta in his dream from the start.
Mm-hmm. As it almost feels as if as you slab into it, and you kind of see the image flash above, and then you begin to feel that enraging power again as it courses through you. As I imagine that the next punch comes in again.
Yeah, this. So I think this time it's an elbow. I think just slowly but surely carving way through this area of the wall, and it keeps going and keeps going. There's almost a frenzy through into. I imagine there was almost a moment where the cladding breaks and we go into foundation stone or something that's significantly stronger, and there's a frenzy that happens.
And then you feel a hand on your shoulder.
I'm ready for more.
You can feel the weight of this hand. As you see, like, there's this small glint of green skin. As we come out, and we see that Baggi is holding onto your shoulder.
I didn't think that was you.
Who did you think I was?
I was hoping you would be. It doesn't matter.
As you look over his shoulder, Baggi, and you are shocked at the destruction you can see of that wall. And you see, like, the drops of blood in front of him, and almost where they've been splattering, so every time his hand has come back, it's kind of pushed the blood almost around the room.
Why did you do that?
The first time was an accident. And then after that, it just started to feel really good.
She holds out her hand so that she can have a look at his.
Pups puts his hands up, do not straighten. They won't close, but they also won't straighten. Just puts them down.
You know, these hands aren't going to be much use if you continue doing this to them.
No.
Baggi takes off what she wears on her left shoulder. That's kind of like her bandage, just like an old rag. And kind of tears it down the middle. So there's two. And just starts wrapping around.
Isn't that a piece of fabric you were given? If I remember rightly. I can't remember if Oshi might have given it to you at school.
It was actually originally something that she wore to cover up like the bruise that was constantly
That's
there. But then she wears it now as like a kind of reminder, I suppose, of like,
Just-
you know, yeah. So it means a lot to her. So to take it off is weird.
Yeah, and you can see Pups on her coat. There's like a dark or a light, like a lightened band, where it's very clear that that's been there for a very, very long time.
And you've had that forever.
I know. Longer than I've known you for.
Why are you doing that?
Because it reminds me of a time when I had no control. And a time when I needed to cover something up, or I wanted to cover something up. And as the years have gone on, I've kept it as a reminder. A reminder of things that were done to me, I suppose, that I believe are unfair, and hopefully one day will seek some kind of revenge. But for me now, looking at you and what you're doing to yourself, if this can be a reminder of the fact that we're all in this together, and we don't want harm to come to each other, I know that you have a lot inside of you, Pups. A lot that you're holding on to. We all do. But we need to turn it into something useful and not take it out on ourselves. So if that can remind you of that, even just for a bit, until those hands heal up a bit, that would make me happy.
I hate them so much.
I know. I know. I hate them too. I really, really do. And actually speaking to Amelia last night was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. And I think the only way I got through it was to drink.
I just admire you and Phatts for doing that. I think if I'd have been in the room when they arrived, well, there'd have been at least one and more body for the Sea Watch to find.
Yeah, I have no doubt. But you know that would have been the wrong time to do it. We have to be clever about this. They've made that pretty clear. As hard as it is, you look at those bandages and you remember that you are the one in control. Not them. You're always in control of yourself.
It doesn't feel like it sometimes. It just feels like there's just two of me. You know, there's just one that's constantly trying to find peace and understanding and some sort of equilibrium, and then there's just another that... Why do you think it annoys me when Phatts gets like that all the time? That's in me as well. I fight it every day. Ever since it happened.
Why are those two parts of you such a bad thing, Pups? I mean, come on, look at the group. You can't say that all of us are just one person the entire time. Phatts could be sanctimonious. He could also be caring. Or she can be sneaky and rude and uppity and arrogant. But she can also be brilliant and sly and clever and kind, believe it or not. So why are you beating yourself up, literally, for having two sides to your personality? You can use both of them. You don't just have to be one version of you.
Balance.
Yeah. Or however you want to look at it. You are allowed to feel things as well.
Yeah, I just feel things so hard. It scares me sometimes when I think that side might be the side that might win. Because that's the side when things always seem to go wrong. I wish I could channel it. It just comes out as fury more often than not.
Well, how can we harness it then?
Believe it or not, that's what I was trying to do. Trying to... Do you remember the monk? The old monk?
Yeah.
From the Girl Hunt. They've been reaching out to me in dreams or... I don't know what they are. And I thought I was getting somewhere. I thought I was ready. I thought I knew what I needed to do. And now it's like I can't find them. It's like I can't get that connection back. And punching this wall was literally the closest that I felt to that spark again. So I guess I just did it a whole bunch of times.
Well, maybe it's going to be different the next time. Maybe it's not about getting a spark, but actually possibly the opposite. I mean, I suppose if you look at it logically, if I try something and it doesn't work, then I just have to try a different way. Experiment, I suppose. Even if you think you were close, if it didn't work the way that you hoped, then it's not the right way. And also, you're going to make an absolute mess in here that you know if Big Phatts sees it, he's going to get really angry. And I'm probably going to be the one who gets blamed for it for some reason. So, how about we leave that as experiment number 1? I can even write in my notebook that it didn't quite work if you want. I'll do it now. Pups. Punching wall equals ouchies.
Did you really just say ouchies?
Yes, I really just said ouchies. I'm trying to be adorable. Let me.
Mission accomplished.
Ah, shut up.
Did you see as she rips off the page and like sticks it on like the whole of the wall? It just like throws it in the middle of it. It's like stuck to the wall now.
Well, I guess I will have to try a different... What was that? What was the word you used? Hypothesis? Something like that.
Well, I actually didn't, but yeah, okay, Mrs. Smarty Pants.
I'm sure I've heard you use that like back in the day.
Try something else. Or don't try at all.
You sound like them.
Do I? Ooh.
Yeah, they're annoying.
Do you want me to leave you alone?
Yeah. But thank you.
No need. And Baggi just like gently taps one of his hands and gets up to leave.
So we see you kind of like walk out through the door, and as you sort of shut the door seemed to like morph until it's a door that is blown off its hinges and is lying on the ground. As the dust of the morning road kicks across, as we see Oshi stood in front of a door that has been blown off its hinges. On the door itself, we can see a dagger. It's glinting in the sun.
She walks up to it.
Sort of a foot, sort of just like gingerly steps around, making no noise. As you begin to peer your head through the open doorway. As inside you see, it looks as if there was once a circle of chairs, but there's now people slumped in those chairs, or the chairs themselves have been fallen over. You can see somewhere that there's a table that seems to have someone's been thrown over. It's an absolute massacre. You can count as you look through. In your panic state, you begin to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 30, 31, 32, 33. As you see across, and you look across, and you see that slumped across one of the tables, holding a vial of poison. You see the old man sort of sat there, almost as if he's asleep. Except he's got a knife in his back. The others have seemed to have either a blade sticking out of their chest, or their throats have been slashed, or they've simply been beaten to a pulp. The back of the bar is smashed to pieces. All of the bottles are gone. As you begin to walk, you see there's an large empty chair. The chair of the council has nobody on it, except there is a snake pinned to the back of the chair with a blade. As your hand comes up to take the blade, we fade to black. Okay.
Why can't we have nice things?
I don't know, mate. It's not my fault.
Oh my god. Wowza.
Lovely session there, guys. It is an early finish, Daz. It is an early finish. Mainly because I enjoyed so much of this session that I wanted to give a bit of time for some reflection of things that we liked as well. But yes,
Wow.
what a cliffhanger from Bevans, of course. Okay, so I'd like people in the chat to kind of think about your favourite moments from today. Or things that you think you noticed as well. That'd be quite a nice one. As we're going to pop through, I know, Mr. Thompson, you haven't had a chance to speak very much today.
It's all right. Don't worry.
But I'm sure, as I did, I very much enjoyed listening to it, and I know that you enjoy that very much as well. So I'm going to start with you, because I think you've had enough time to listen to what's happened. So what has been your favourite moments of this evening?
Really loved that Baggi and Pups scene. Really nice. that it just, that was nice because it just reminded me of like three of you have like really been through so much together. It's nice to see. It's not we don't often or haven't recently got to see a lot of the like affection and loyalty shown for each other. It's been a lot of fighting, I think. There hasn't felt like there's a lot of those still calming chats of look, I got you, you're my family kind of a thing. So that was really lovely to see. I really loved Gab's opening this week, the saying tunk instead of tuck. I thought that was really nice, and then especially how that bled into the like opening scene of she's saying, no, I'm fine, what are you talking about? Just love that, you get a glimpse into it, and then it's that classic stoicism. I'm very surprised. Lovely story work from you, Joe. Very surprised at the Assassin's Guild. Yet another potential strong ally thrust down to the pits of hell. But there you are. Yeah. Yeah. That's me, I think. I've got a lot to reflect on. Yeah, you say that I did have a lot of time, but I was also trying to unravel a lot of shit in my mind at the same time about how are we going to do this. But yeah, those would be my top three, I think.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna go across the screen and go over to Evie. What was your kind of favourite moments of today?
I absolutely loved your atmospheric descriptions the entire way through, Joe. Oh my gosh, the dust, the morning. It was just brilliant. I was literally listening to it like, feel like I'm there. Yeah. It was lovely. It was really just set the scene so perfectly for all of us. That kind of hazy morning after something really big thing. It really felt like that the whole way through, which I loved. Again, to repeat a bit of what Rob said, I thought Gabs's montage into that opening scene, into everything, was just so well thought out, and a link that is just again, like, it just makes a lot of sense, a lot of sense. And her hurt and how she always processes her hurt or shows her hurt is brilliant, magnificent. I really like Rob's Big Phatts' chat with Carla, and seeing the fear, I suppose, in Big Phatts, whilst also trying to be very businessy. And again, that whole scene, it felt like he was really, really vulnerable. And of course, have to mention the recap song. Thank you for doing a musical. Been secretly wanting that personally the entire time, and then you've pulled it out of the bag with a bit of super Cali. Very, very nice. And then the whole Pups meditation and how that became a thing. I mean, I had no idea where that was going to go or how that was going to go, but I think the way that you ran with it and you evolved with it was just lovely, like really, really nice. And I really enjoyed doing that scene with you as well. Yeah, so there's my highlights.
Nice. Okay, Gabby, what was your kind of highlights of today?
I really loved the descriptions of the arrows. They were sick. They were so good. I like I feel a way about the ending. I don't know if like is the word, but it made me feel things, which is arguably better than like. You know what I mean? Like they're like, God, so 2021, isn't it? For example, feeling really empty. Like, oh, fucking hell, man. I like the intro song, but I also like Big Phatts is really trusting to people who he thinks have really good business acumen. I was watching it as Oshi being like, do we need to fucking search this little bitch's notes? But no, Pups, Big Phatts takes it and then feels bad. Like, we really saw him feeling badly about not, like he's very, I don't know, moral when it comes to business. Oh, he's very moral, but when it comes to business stuff, like feeling bad about not being able to pay, and that's, I think, the difference in business Oshi and business Phatts. I should be like, cool, see ya. By the way, you had a cup of tea, you need to put a pound in the pot. Whereas big Phatts would want to make sure that they got black bed, and then the Pups and Baggi scene was so good because it was really like poignant, like having control, and also not. Yeah, like he hurt himself and having that moment, but then also so Pups to be like, I do want to be left alone. So the truth of that scene from the character's perspective was really beautiful.
Yeah, lovely. I'd agree with all of that. I think just very quickly before we move to Dan, it's that thing of all of you were distracted by something in the session today, which I thought was really lovely. But Dan, what was your favourite kind of moments today?
Do you know there was a part? It came a point during this session when I thought, wow, are we all really tired, or is there something missing from this session? I almost felt like there was like a drop in energy, but then I realized I was completely misconstruing that. It was just a really gentle episode, an episode where everyone was really having to take stock about all the stuff that was going on. Like, I love it. Started from the very beginning. Like, I've loved the slow descent of Big Phatts into someone who's really starting to like check and think about their actions and think about their wider sense in the world, and that's been coming through in the last couple of intros. Evie's intro broke my heart. Like, the whole the last time she partied was the night before Tunk died, or the night before she found out about Tunk dying. And yeah, Gabs, I said this in the break, but like how Joe was describing it was exactly how I was watching it. Like, all these conversations were going over the top, and I was just watching you. Like, my focus was just getting closer and closer and closer to you as you said nothing, but said everything all at the same time. Like, I felt like my nose was going to be against the laptop by the end because I was just watching you on my screen. And Joe, I these cinematic transitions, man, like the door, the closing of the door into the falling of the door, and how the scenes are linking into each other now. Like, I don't know what it does. It speaks to my brain and puts me very much more I can visualize it and see it so much more. And yeah, I really enjoyed the sort of gentle energy of this episode, and how much there was a real time to take stock and receive things rather than try and drive things through, And I love that scene with Evie as well. That was so many points, so many beautiful, poignant points there where I loved it as a character, and then also loved it as a creator as well, of like seeing all like the little story moments and the little callbacks and things like that came up. It was really beautiful. Much love for that.
Yeah, I think genuinely today I really enjoyed how you all, as I say, fell into the pace, and it just sort of was like, cool, this is where we're at, this is where we're going. Also just really, really receptive, not just to what you were giving to each other, but also the things that I was giving you, and it's just really nice to sit back and listen and enjoy a story, which was quite nice today. It's good to see, as you say, there is vulnerability. Thank you, Agelos. It's very good to have you here. I hope that you can join us for more shows going forward. But thank you for joining us and following. But I saw hello there. Do say hello. I think that it was really lovely to hear you go all just kind of go for that style. I love seeing Big Phatts being vulnerable and being trying to kind of take stock of what's going on, but at the same time continuing the caring of somebody else, and like that continuation of what Big Phatts is about, looking after a household, looking after people, which I thought was really nice to see, but in a slightly different way. I've got to be honest, I really enjoyed playing with you today, Gabby. So it was really great because you, as Dan said, you said nothing but said everything, and that was made it a joy to kind of start you on this particular storyline. I've also really enjoyed that we do all of these kind of beginning montages, and then some of them get forgotten. So I can't wait to see some of those montages kind of return and see how they go from there. And finally, it was good. It felt, honestly, this episode felt like we were back on Black Star a little bit. So that was really, really nice. And also, I just love the patience of everybody. The sort of stuff coming up on the chat about treasure rolls. So I've plopped it onto your screen, everybody at home, everybody in the players, of a potion that Oshi will find in that bar. But we'll do the description of that next time. And just so that we don't forget what that potion, what that treasure is. All right. Great. Okay, so I think we're going to finish a little earlier there. Yes, I'm jealous. We've just literally finished. But again, you're following us now, so you can join us next time and next week for another episode of Waterdeep Mallrats Dragon Heist. And keep your eyes open for everything else that we've got going on. I think from me, massive love to all of you. Massive love to the players here. And unless there's anything else we'd like to say, any messages? No, lovely. Well, look after yourself. Don't smash holes into walls out of anger. No. Always remember, Pups hitting wall equals ouchie. And I'll see you guys next week. All right, big love. Bye.
Mwah.